I'm going to take a shot on this one.
I'm going to say beer.
I'm buying everybody around on this. Oh my God.
We're going to move on. We're going to go north of the border, and we're going to talk about the teams that the Rangers played last week, because Leon Draisaitl will challenge Connor McDavid for the Hart Trophy. I got to go to the Connor McDavid fanboy, Mr. Filkowski, on this one.
Not Hart, Art Ross. You said
Oh,
Hart.
the Art Ross. I'm sorry.
Well, he's going to – it's a round. He's going to challenge for both of them. And technically right now, I believe they're tied in scoring after last night's game because McDavid had a goal in that game and Draisaitl, I don't think, had a point. But, this is a round. Whether Draisaitl actually wins it or not is another story. But if you're going with the word challenge, yes, he's going to challenge him. It's going to be a neck-and-neck race between the two of them. And now they're playing on the same line as each other. So, yeah, a lot of their points are going to be assisted on by one another. Ryan Nugent-Hopkins is playing with Zach Hyman right now and Keller Yamamoto. And now, McDavid and Draisaitl with Pullock. So now they have two really good scoring lines that are producing for them. So unless something changes, McDavid and Draisaitl are going to be playing together all season. So, yeah, I'm buying a round.
Anthony.
I'm going round two. Prior to last night, Draisaitl was actually 1 point up on McDavid for the league lead at 24, but I think he's the only guy that can. This guy's for the last 3 years or so. He's been one of the league's best players. I think the tricky part is a lot of times they both get multiple points per game. That's what's going to make it so interesting. And even we talk about McDavid being so good, so much better than anybody in the league. Just the fact that he could hang around McDavid says a lot about his game. I think McDavid ultimately wins it, but I think Draisaitl is going to challenge him. And I think for two teammates, I think that'll be fun for them. They'll probably have fun with it. But I think it's going to be McDavid. But I think Draisaitl is going to be nipping at his heels all year. And I think there are going to be times where Draisaitl is a point or two ahead of him too. So it'll be interesting in how it plays out.
We're going to make this a clean sweep. Draisaitl is going to challenge McDavid. It is just that simple. McDavid is number one in multi-point games over the last, 6 years in the league. And number two is Leon Draisaitl. Part of it has to do with McDavid's giving the puck to Draisaitl. Draisaitl's giving the puck to McDavid. Yeah. The other part of it is they're two really good players. So it's just as far as they go with that. Now, I know the tiebreaker for that would be McDavid usually gets an injury that costs him some time. He didn't last year, and he blew everybody away. I see him being healthy. I don't see him slowing down at all, and I don't see any problems. So again, good news for the people up in Edmonton. I'm sure you're listening to me or don't care at all, but I just think McDavid's going to be right there. But you know what? Draisaitl's going to challenge him. It's not going to be any.
It's crazy to think about though when you look at it, because everybody is just so wowed by what McDavid does because of what I said before. The way he plays the game at a speed we've never seen before, and how well he can process the game and his hands and his shot and everything like that. Now he's adding a one-timer. But Leon Draisaitl is such a deceptively fast and smooth skater, and he motors up the ice quicker than anyone even thinks of. And he's able to process the game at a very, very high level. They might be, if you want to say Lemieux and Yager.
I was just going to say that.
I was going to say something else. Hold on.
They are probably the best duo I think I've ever seen. And I watched Lemieux and Yager in the mid-90s. They were an absolute thorn in the side of the Rangers, and the Islanders. We all know that, but I tell you right now, Lemieux and Draisaitl, McDavid and Draisaitl against today's competition, what they're doing and the rates that they're scoring at, that I think is maybe possibly more impressive to me.
I do think that there's a little bit more strength and force in Draisaitl, and that's why the comparison I was making was going to be Gretzky and Messier. There's That's what they could do. They could
but
put them all
they
together.
played very minimal time together though, and Messier was more of a center than a wing after a certain point. After that 50-goal season that Messier had, he was really a center from there on out.
Yeah,
so.
And he almost became the oldest person to score 50, but he had an
96,
injury in
yes.
96. All right, sticking with the Edmonton Oilers, because as we were talking about this, I couldn't help but ask this question. Edmonton can have playoff success with their current goaltending. Guys are going to start this one. Nope. Shot. Current goaltending, you're either relying on a 42-year-old who, I mean, after all, because when you're over 40, you're basically in the grave, right? So since I'm 43, the other one is you're relying on Mikko Koskinen. Now, we were talking about the Rangers getting that 4-1 lead. I believe the third goal was Chris Kreider. Holy crap, was that a terrible angle did he take? I mean, he's off his angle so much that he really should try to get a protractor to put on the goal so we can help him out. Mikko Koskinen is not going to be the answer, and neither is Mike Smith. No, they cannot succeed, and they're playing great defense. But they're going to give up soft goal after soft goal after soft goal. It deflates a team. You're not going to be able to do that forever. And by the way, also their power play is operating at 50%. Pretty sure power plays don't operate at 50% unless it's a video game. Anthony.
Shot.
Okay.
As good as the Oilers are offensively and dynamic, Draisaitl and McDavid are, playoffs are different. The playoffs are a totally different ball game. It tightens up immensely. And the Oilers aren't going to be able to get away winning, 6-4 games in the playoffs. I mean, just look at their recent track record in the playoffs. McDavid's not nearly as prolific because in the playoffs there's less room for him to operate. And you can't play that style in the playoffs. It just doesn't work. So with Mike Smith and Mikko Koskinen back there, they can mask it during the regular season because their offense will probably be able to overcome the amount of goals that they let up. Come playoff time, I don't think that's going to happen. And you could thank Peter Chiarelli for giving that contract to Koskinen, which I thought was comical. He signed him to that extension, and then I don't remember now, but wasn't it like a day after or a couple?
They fired him like 2 days after.
Why did you let him have the reins to sign him to that contract and then you get rid of him? I mean, Koskinen is a formidable backup goalie. Maybe a little bit of above average backup goalie, but I don't think he's an everyday starter. And I think Mike Smith is too old, and I don't think he's particularly good anymore. So I don't know why the Oilers didn't address this goaltending in the offseason. They came back with the same duo. But that's a topic for another day, but I don't think they're going to be able to win with this goaltending. And then McDavid will have the same dejected look on his face from the clip that we always use, the honest press conferences, this is going to happen again. And he's going to wonder why. And he's going to think to himself, okay, well, because our goaltending still is suspect. So I don't understand why they didn't address it, but this question is a shot for sure.
Yeah. Phil. I think Phil froze.
Hear me?
You might have.
Oh, there he is.
Hear me? Can you guys hear me?
Got you.
Okay. Yeah, it did froze. The things came up. I'm saying shot on this. I don't understand how they expect to win with their goaltending. Stuart Skinner started last night's game, and he looked good early, but Vladimir Mesnikov got that first goal on him, and they just opened up the gates after that. If your option really is Stuart Skinner, and your other two options are Mike Smith and Mikko Koskinen, you're not winning anything. They should try to go trade for John Gibson from Anaheim, but they're probably not going to be able to get him unless they fork over a king's ransom to do so, because Anaheim doesn't want to go scorched earth from the looks of it, because it looks like their kids might be ready sooner than later. I don't know who else they really have that could really get the job done in Edmonton. I don't know who's going to be available at the deadline. They're definitely not winning with these two. And for this comment here, I don't know what you're talking about there, D. Ely. but Connor McDavid has 22 points in 21 career playoff games. And the only reason why it's that low is because that first run in 2017 where they went to the Eastern or the Western semis and they ran into Anaheim, he had 9 points in 13 games. And that's not even that bad for a rookie, or not a rookie, but a second-year player.
I think what he means to say is that they get shut down. And you know what? And again, I agree with you, Phil. He's still a point per game in the playoffs. Problem is, just like you say in the honest press conferences, my teammates let me down. And number one is their goaltending. Their goaltending is always terrible in the playoffs.
Yeah.
I mean, Mikko Koskinen was the second best goalie on the ice versus the Rangers, and Alexander Georgiev couldn't stop a beach ball. So, am I being hard on Georgiev? Yeah, but still.
No, because after the Pullock goal, he couldn't stop anything, and his rebound control just went to absolute shit. There wasn't. I don't know if he controlled a rebound after that goal. I really don't.
Anthony,
something tells me that I think Edmonton's going to be phoning Big Lou in the summertime about acquiring Semyon Varlamov.
No, that could be the summertime. It'll definitely be March.
I think you can. Well, the Islanders would be dumb to do that because if something happened to Sorokin, then they're screwed. One of their strengths is their goaltending duo, and for a team that has cup aspirations, it wouldn't be wise to do in season. But I think the Oilers should inquire about it in the offseason because I think it just makes too much sense.
Yeah. Well, if you watched with us a couple weeks ago, we asked, is Jeremy Colliton on the hot seat? And he is, and he was fired. So we made that prediction, and we're going with that one. Going back to another team the Rangers played last week, Travis Green is on the hot seat in Vancouver. Phil.
Buying everybody around on this. Yeah. At what point do they and you got to remember they almost went to the Western Conference Finals. And they were that close with Travis Green a couple of years back. And then last year they were bad. This year they were bad again. And we've got to remember last year they were in like a weak division. That was all run and gun, no defense, that division. So, and they don't look good so far. I really can't begin to tell you how much of a problem that is for Vancouver with the talent that they have. And sure, not having Elias Pettersson around for like training camp and stuff like that, but you can't be behind a Vegas team that had Brett Howden as its number one center at one point, a rebuilding Los Angeles Kings team, San Jose, who everybody thought would be left for dead, Anaheim that's rebuilding. Like they're seventh in that division. And the only team
more on them in a minute
is an expansion team. That's bad. Yeah, I'm buying around on this.
Anthony, your former Islander.
Yeah, he kissed Ziggy Palffy right in the mouth after that one celebration. I'm gonna go round. I mean, you got Besser, you got Horvat, you got Pettersson, you acquired Garland and OEL. Thatcher Demko is a solid goalie and net. Honestly, he's getting a lot of respect for the Team USA Olympic team. Demko is. Side note. So yeah, with that amount of talent on the roster, I feel like they should be doing better. And sometimes you have to look to the coach when stuff like this occurs. So, round for sure. I think there's still a lot of time for them to turn it around. But I mean, I would say, he's definitely in that category of next coaches to possibly, look to see if they're the next guy to go.
I'm going to go round, and I'm going to change it up just a little bit, boys, because it's going to be the truth is he's not put in a position to succeed right now. Jim Benning completely screwed him. They let Markstrom go, and right now Markstrom looks like he might be a Vezina candidate at the end of the season in Calgary. They invested in OEL and got Connor Garland. Garland's been great. OEL's been good. He's still developing Quinn Hughes. He's got a young team that's doing all this stuff. And then he's making some questionable decisions. Like I was watching their game against Anaheim last night. Brock Besser he was down low. He wasn't in the Panarin spot or the Ovechkin spot where I've usually seen him. Guy with a bomb like that, you're putting him like on the goal line, really? And JT Miller was the guy that was there. JT Miller doesn't have the shot that Brock Besser does.
No.
I would figure JT Miller's in the bumper or something else like that. I mean, but anyway, so that's personnel decisions. But Travis Green's got high expectations. It's a hockey market over there in Vancouver. And it's not even a question of whether or not he's a good coach, because I think he did a good job 2 years ago. Anthony said it best. They were almost in they were one game away from the Western Conference Finals. You want to say the COVID Finals? Sure. But they still won a play-in round, beat the St. Louis Blues, and then almost beat the Vegas Golden Knights. It's almost 3 rounds. So I don't think Green should be on the hot seat, but he's going to be, and I think he might be the next coach fired. So, I mean, where he's going to go after that, I don't know. And by the way, he might be fired and still coach with Team USA because he's still a good coach. But the team we mentioned last night, Anaheim. If you like that video, we got a lot more. So check out any of these that are right over here. And don't forget to like, share, and subscribe.
Your ideas are intriguing to me, and I wish to subscribe to your newsletter.